Well, we're very pleased to be joined now by Ronnie Pascale, the Richmond Kickers all-time leader in appearances, who is set to be honoured this Saturday as they host the City Islanders. Ronnie, thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
This has obviously got to be a big thing for you this Saturday, the team honouring you after what was an incredible career for them over 13 seasons. What does it mean to you personally that the team is doing this?
It's still kind of surreal. I don't think it's really settled in yet. It's a huge honor, and I'm very humbled to have it happen. I was really lucky, growing up 14 years ago, dreaming to play professional soccer, and there weren't really as many opportunities back then as there are now. So to get an opportunity to get with the Kickers after my first year in Atlanta, and to get with an organization that's as steady and as consistent as they are, and a great fan base and a great organization. I really was lucky to end up in Richmond when I did. Fortunately, I was able to play for a lot longer than I ever thought I would. And at the end of the day, I got paid to play the game that I love, and it's very humbling to have this happen Saturday night.
What was it that you put down to your consistency, especially being as good as you were for such a long period of time?
A lot of it, I think, was just hard work and dedication. I grew up, I was short for being a goalkeeper, and my whole life I had people telling me I'd never be able to make it. I'd never make it at a Division I college, and then I went on to play at Furman for 4 years, and then, I had no chance of playing professionally. So I always kind of used that to fuel me, and, my mentality was always, it's all right to make a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes, but don't make the same mistake twice. Growing up, I had a lot of great trainers and coaches. Mike Jacobs is the head coach at University of Evansville. Got to spend a couple summers training with John Bush and Eric Botter in Charlotte. And just the, kind of the lessons that you learn training with those guys, kind of that old school mentality of just put your head down and work a little bit harder, and that'll carry you a pretty long way. And, it seems to be working for Bushy, and I think it worked pretty well for me also.
Is it strange seeing John Bush still out there and still chugging along in MLS?
It is. It's great, and I've been living vicariously through him the last couple of years. He's doing a phenomenal job, and if you know John, you know that's what he's going to do. He's about as true a professional as you can get. He's very, I guess, fortunate that he landed in a very good situation as well, but he's the consummate professional. He takes care of himself, and he kind of just puts his head down and works like he needs to.
Now, obviously, since you've retired, there have been a couple of guys who have come down from DC United to fill your shoes. Andrew Dykstra last year and Joe Willis this year. I know you're still going out to the games. What have you made of them as Andrew won Goalkeeper of the Year last year and Joe is looking very solid so far this season?
Yeah, it's pretty funny because I actually coached Andrew for 5 years at VCU. So it was really cool for me to the year I stepped away was the year that he came in. And it was, in a way, kind of like seeing my protege step in between the posts for me, which it made the transition, I think, a little bit easier. I've always known that he was a fantastic athlete, and he's developed into a very, very good goalkeeper. And I think we all saw that in Richmond last year. And now DC is seeing that this year as he kind of beat out Joe for that number 2 spot. And from what I've seen of Joe, he's a very solid goalkeeper. And that's what you want to look for. You want to look for a guy who's really not going to make a lot of mistakes and lose games for you, but someone who's going to be consistent and keep you in games. Especially when you have a team like the Kickers, that's what you need, and he seems to be doing a great job with that.
Do you still enjoy going out to the games? Is it a different experience watching from the stands now?
It is. Like I said, last year really wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. I think it was really, I knew it was time to step away. It started to get hard once the season started to wind down and you got towards the playoffs and the game started to mean a little bit more, and that's when the competitive juices started to go and you really wanted to get out there and play again. Honestly, this year it's been a little bit tougher where, I'm really starting to miss it a little bit more, but it's fun to go and to just to sit back and to watch the games kind of take place in front of you and to see the fans, how they interact with the players and how enthusiastic they've been. The crowds out at University of Richmond or out at City Stadium have been getting better and better. And, they really seem to be pushing the team forward in the right direction.
You made more than 300 appearances for the Kickers. Are there any particular games that really stand out for you?
Yeah, I would say there's probably a good handful. Playing LA Galaxy a couple weeks after they announced that David Beckham was going to the team in the Open Cup, and we ended up beating them 1-0 at home was a fantastic game. I remember in 2002 playing Rochester in the semifinals, home and away, and the away trip up in Rochester, we beat them in a shootout. And that was my first year as a starter for the Kickers, and that was a pretty special night. Definitely winning my first championship in 2006. That's always going to stick out there, and especially for me, it was 3 days after my son was born. So there's definitely a lot of really special memories out there.
You're staying involved with the Kickers, from what I've heard. You're working with the youth academy now. What's that like to kind of stay connected to the club and hopefully bring through some of the players that are going to be playing for the team maybe 15, 20 years from now?
Yeah, it's great. I've always, even when I was in high school, I coached some of my local youth teams, so I've always been involved as a coach, and being able to kind of keep in the Kickers organization. I've been training the Kickers Academy goalkeepers a little bit for a couple of years. And then I've also helped out with my daughter Tabitha's team a little bit, and now my son's playing U9 next year, so I'm going to help out with them a bit as well. So, it's great to stay involved, and I think that's one of the things that really separates the Kickers from other clubs is kind of that grassroots community aspect that they really go after. And you have these kids that show up to games and they see the pro guys playing and they're their youth coaches. And, even for me, it's been 2 years since I've played, and you go out to the field, the kids still remember who I am. It's a pretty cool relationship that we have with the fans. And it's great to see these kids that kind of develop and grow up throughout the system and then hopefully put on a pro uniform.
You played for 13 seasons, you played more than 300 games, you won 3 championships with the Kickers. What's the one thing that you hope the fans remember you for?
Well, that's a good question. I think for me it was really just the consistency, and that I always did my best.
Well, Ronnie, we know that you always did your best on the field. We know you're doing your best off the field now to help the next generation come through. And we hope you have a great night this Saturday as the Kickers host the City Islanders. Many thanks for joining us, and have a great Saturday.
All right, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.